we just, yes, recording in progress. We started discussing, and this is what Nursultan said, that when Kurak sent them their document, remember, they promised us their bylaws and their code of conduct. What Nursultan said is that by reading the bylaws, he understands that the bylaw is right. I mean, they have an annual meeting, but they don't do it. In that annual meeting, the members should vote, but they deny the members. So there is a discrepancy between what they have in the bylaw, which is what they should be doing, and what they are really actually doing. Now, in a normal project, in a normal world, we would have time to discuss this with them. Now, in this case, I'm not sure that we have a lot of time because this is something that needs fixing. You don't leave this one like this. Why? Because the leaders of the association, there are 3 duties of a leader, you know, the board, out of which one is duty of obedience, which means that the board and the leader should abide, be the first one to abide by the bylaw. If I'm the leader and I'm not respecting the bylaw, then how can I expect others to do it? To abide it means to know it, right? So I should read it. I should know what's inside. And then if I don't abide it, there is a problem, there is a governance problem. So right now we don't know if they don't do it because they don't want to do it, or because they didn't even read that bylaw or forgot what is written in the bylaw. We don't know that information. Now going back to my diagnostic report, and this is something before, you know, discussing with you what was your perception and how you do it. While doing it, because there were a few days in between, and that was bad for me because it was tough to remember. So keep in mind, strong recommendation. If you want to have an easy life, do it immediately after. Your life will be much more complicated if you do what I did, but I did not have time. So that you should know, try to do it, you know, try to schedule as much time, but don't write it before you have also the bylaws, because when you write it, you need to have the full information. Now, I knew that I will not have access to them, and I did it, you know, but you write it, you know, get the information, full information, get the bylaw, write the report. Now, it is very possible that while writing the report, you will see, oops, these questions I forgot to ask. It happens. Why? Because the conversation, it's a flow. And even if you have the questions in front of you, and I have printed them, you know, so that you see, while I was discussing with her, I have this printed so that I can take a look. I have this printed, even I would have it there. Why? Because I wanted to see her eyes. And, you know, I'm doing like this rather than have it on the screen. I had it on the screen, but I prefer to look at her, which is why I printed it. So these are just tricks of the, you know, way to make your life. Let me admit Moru. Yeah. And that she's coming. She's connecting. So this is, this will help you. Moru.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be, you know, don't apologize. They made me record this meeting because of you. So this is also recorded, and Aser's not here. So I already started talking, but you will be able to listen to the beginning. Okay? Mohru? Okay, can you hear me, right? You can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good. So have your documents with you, and if, God forbid, you forget something to ask, it's not a problem. You should, come back with a few questions. So in this case, while writing the report, I realized that I don't have enough information to write anything meaningful about how they cooperate with other organizations. I forgot to ask. That was my mistake. Why? Because, even for me, this is a new diagnostic. Every diagnostic is different. So really, you need to have it in your brain to keep, hi, I see you. So read the questions not only the questions, but read the ratings very well before, because otherwise you forget, like I forgot. Which is why it's at the end of each of the first session, if you can finish in one session, fine. At the end of the, let's say, last session, you should tell them that, look, thank you for, everything, but if I will have additional questions, I may come back to you with a brief WhatsApp or, a phone call. No need for a complicated Zoom or whatever, but to get enough information to clarify, right? So that they know it is very possible to, in this particular case, I think that we need another session. If that would be just that one, would be, I wouldn't bother. But to clarify the bylaw and the fact that they don't observe it. Mohru, to update you, what Nursultan, this is how we started the conversation, Nursultan received their bylaws, and in the bylaw, they have a general assembly of members should vote and everything. So everything is right on paper, but they don't do it. Now, for us, unfortunately, in this project, we don't have time to work with them to fix it. But it would be what I would hope. I would ask why they don't do it. Is it because you don't know? Is it because you consider it's irrelevant? Why? It's an information that is not helping us in this project, but it's an information that helps us in the following way. It tells us how they are in reality, why they will be your partners, one of your partners, right? So you need to know how much of top down they are, how much of, what is the power? How are they, are they ignoring their members or not? And why is the reason for ignoring them? Because when we go and discuss broad participation, what does that mean? You see? So this is something that I have to think how we can do the follow-up on that. But it is very possible that after you do the interview and you receive whatever documents from them, maybe a presentation or maybe something they didn't share, you find discrepancies, or even you find them lying, or you catch that. Now, it's a matter of your own judgment, what you do with that information. It's not good to confront them, never. Because it's, what you try to understand. So if I go back to them, I would never confront, why aren't you doing? So, but I would put it as a clarification. Look, I see that you have it, but there might be a reason why you don't do it. So what is that reason? So that I can understand. Put it mildly. Don't tell them you're lying, or don't tell them you're, or sometime you may decide to even pass. So this is an information you keep for yourself. You can even include it in the diagnostic assessment that there is a discrepancy between what they are doing and, So this is also important. Okay. I will think about how we can fix this one, because in this project, we don't have capacity building for the organization itself. And we don't want them to be scared or to be not to like us, or that, you know, to say, oh, no, because we need them as partners. Okay, but in the same time, we need to know who they are, and they need to know their shortcomings as well. Now, going back to the purpose of this meeting, which was writing the report. Let me share my screen. This is the report, right? Now, you read it, right? Did you read it? How, you know, what is your opinion? How what was it, if you were to write it, would you write it in the same, we were in the same meeting. I mean, we were all in that meeting. So what is your perspective, your take on that? Which parts you would write different, which parts were difficult, so that I can help you, I can clarify. Do you want me to go through it? How do you want to do it? I'm here for you.
Yeah, let's go through it.
Okay.
From the beginning, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, my concern actually, like quick jump in, that not all the questions were answered in details. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
this is always happening. You will have to approximate. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough information. You remember, even that. What did Moru said last night? Oh my God, she was tired. Oh my God, poor her. Right? This is what you said. Well, you cannot have both. You cannot have enough information unless you keep them, you kill them, you know, and that is too much. You need to keep the balance between what is important and how much is important, how much time, because they get tired. You see, but this is, it's a trade-off. And this is not, we don't do this very detailed. This is not a very detailed one. It doesn't help us. What it will help this diagnostic, and I looked at your working, at your Excels, you will need this to calculate increase because of the capacity building. Keep that in mind. So every time you're scoring, don't be too generous, be fair, not too generous, because then to take them from 3.5 to 4.5, that's extremely high. So keep in mind that you're doing this now and you will be doing in 1 year, and you hope to have higher marks. So be, you know, be cautious, play cautious. Okay. Women Business Association, everybody agrees, right? This is who they are. And this is what I did. It's by bolding, right? Because this is simpler. By the time I had, you know, I wrote this, and every time I put my initials, and I suggest this is how I do it. Because the initial of the evaluator. So this is information from the evaluator. I will change this, of course. Okay. This is something that they did. Remember, they filled it in the past. And when I edit, I put my initials. Now, it may be the case that they will not fill it in advance, but it will help you. So maybe you can tell them to fill it in. And if you want to add with your initials. That is, you know, that is my interpretation of the mission statement, but this is their mission statement. We will not do training on the mission statement, but I just wanted to mention it. This is what they have in their documents, and this is what they wrote. And this is just a mild comment from me. Right? This is what they have. And because this is not enough information, I have added this information, which
Amelia, by the
Yeah.
way, is it okay if, like, as a team, we have around 4 or 5 questions regarding the correct translation of some notions, some words,
Mhm.
and while we are going through this document,
Please, yeah.
yeah,
let's
yeah.
discuss. If you want, we can discuss.
Yeah, I think we can do it at the same time so that we will not spend
Yeah,
time
whatever.
later. Yeah, so the first question relates to the page number 2, question number 8. It's about the are there explicit sanctions within the bylaws to deal with sexual harassment, sexual misconduct? So the question relates to the sexual misconduct. We translated like sexual harassment.
This is not a question,
Yeah.
this is a question, this number 8 comes from the great, from that assessed from the CWE template. This is not something that
Mm.
honestly, I would have taken it out, but sanctions to the, what is the question
Yeah,
about?
question, sexual misconduct. Actually, it's, for me, it's sort of like.
Where is
I can-
misconduct? No.
Yeah, it's in the page 2.
Oh, yeah, misconduct, sexual misconduct,
Yeah,
sexual harassment.
Yeah, sexual
But
harassment, we understand.
Yeah, misconduct. Let's say harassment, it's always about someone else, right?
Mhm,
I harass you or you harass me.
mhm.
Misconduct, I do something that is not about someone.
Mhm.
I don't know. I come sexual misconduct. I mean, it's not that I tell jokes, because telling jokes can be also harassment. It depends. But if it's even, you see, it's crescendo: harassment, misconduct, threats and coercion, physical assault.
Mhm. Camelia, misconduct can be like, for example, in some Muslim countries, in Arabic countries, for example, the wearing the like short clothes.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
on.
If I come undressed properly,
Yeah.
but it's sexual misconduct. It has to have a, if this is not
Okay.
right for you,
Yeah.
take it out. We take it out from here. We take it out from your translation, and this is it. If this is not clear, take it out.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Let's put it.
I suggest to take out for Tajikistan. It's exactly
Okay, we take it out. Good.
Great.
Because
Yeah.
misconduct, to me, harassment is if I would tell a joke all the time, if I would behave in an improper manner in general, that would be misconduct. If I harass someone, it's very, it's specific.
Yeah. So for example, if there is a couple at work, sometimes that happens. There's a couple at work and they kiss or they do other things, they lock the door and then everyone understands that what they're doing. That would be sexual misconduct, right?
Yeah, it's sexual, because it's not harassment. Maybe they agree, both of them, right? But it's a misconduct.
Yeah.
Harassment is when I come and I tell jokes and maybe I touch, I put, but it's a misconduct. Or in some countries, but it's not what is socially accepted. Like if you go to Iran as a woman and you have short sleeves, right?
That could be sexual misconduct for them.
From their perspective, not from mine. You see? It's, let's take it out if you think this is,
Yeah, it's very
yeah.
relative.
but let me tell you what was the rationale for this, you know, because in a code of conduct or in a bylaw, and probably this comes from ABA Rowley or from the GBV component. Because in some companies include in their bylaws sanctions if these things happen. And this is what ABA Rowley wants to see in more and more companies, bylaws, organizations, sanctions. This is not right. This is what will happen if you do this. But
I think, yeah, in most of the organizations that I worked, they would have not specifically sexual, but they will just have a misconduct part bit, which would include all different types of, you know, the way
yeah,
that
but
people-
misconduct can be in general. Here
Anything.
it's about sexual, you see?
Hmm.
It's sexual harassment, sexual misconduct. This is GBV. To me, it's not misconduct in general, like I disrespect you, Malika. That would, you know, misconduct. If I would talk to you bad and in a improper manner and with a shouting at you, that would be a misconduct, right? From me, on my side. This is not how I should. That would not be sexual misconduct, but this is from GBV.
Maybe it also means like making sexist remarks.
Yeah, making sexist remarks in general. But that can be also considered, some people consider that harassment. This is, you know, I'm not a specialist in GBV.
Yeah, like all these women, they don't know how to drive.
But if
I hear that all the time. I see with the taxis, and the taxi driver would say, "Look, now that's a woman. She's driving.
Yeah,
she's so
she
stupid."
drives. She doesn't
And
know.
it's
Yeah,
like, I'm a woman here for a second.
exactly. So
And he's expecting me to share that with him.
But
So,
here in Tajikistan, it's not commonly like expected to mention these words in the bylaws and to discuss.
yeah,
this.
it's not even this is not only in Tajikistan, in Romania, not even SIPE has something like this. But once again, this is, I worked with what you selected that you wanted. This is what you wanted. This is what you have. Okay, but we can take it out, sexual misconduct. And you only see these things when you're really paying attention, when you're thinking about it. Otherwise, when you're reading, they all seem fine. Okay, any other question?
The next question will be on the page 4, so we can continue. Thanks.
Now, remember, this they filled it in themselves. So my comments are in red to make it clear that this is what they wrote and this is what you know, what is a little bit of my perspective, but I didn't comment it everywhere. But still, I consider that here under membership, it's important to have this information because it will help you. It's not for me, it's for knowing who the organization is. You see, and this is what the reality was. This is what she told us, that only the board member vote and that the regular, they have no voting right. This is what she told us, right? I put a little bit of, and to me, the example when she made the decision to exclude them, that was an extremely bad thing to happen. This should not happen. This is an authoritative decision that, and she wouldn't even have the power to do it. That was really very bad, but which is why I decided to write it. Because this is, it tells who they really are. And I have added the information about dues. It's important to keep in mind how much is the dues, because it gives you an idea about what kind of, and the fact that they have mixed companies, which to me, again, this is not right, companies and individuals. usually should have one or the other. But because we don't have time, I just mentioned it. And the project is not about fixing all this. We don't have this luxury. Okay. Any questions about this? Okay. Keep in mind when keep in mind when you do yours, you don't write especially where I wrote. You write when you feel it needs a clarification, a little bit more than they told you, right? Why? Because in advocacy, I mean, this is a membership organization. So if really if we want their members to be part of what we're doing, we need to understand what is their relationship with members, right? If they wouldn't have members, I wouldn't care about this. Okay, this is not the case. Here doesn't matter. I didn't, yeah. I didn't change here. I just, because they didn't they didn't fill in number 7, I filled it in red. This is what she said. Because normally she should have written board of directors. Yes, 13. Chairman, 1. Board member. She should, but she didn't. Which is why every time I did something, it was in red. You see, only board members can vote. Good for you. Yeah. And then I added here what she told us.
Camille, question is here, number 8, we just passed. So the question is, please list any vacant available leadership positions.
Yeah.
Please explain your leadership. So just a moment. No, it's question 9. So if the organization is not membership based,
if the organization is not a membership based, it's not, here is not about membership based, it's about how do they select the board.
But in the other NGOs,
let's say they are an NGO, right?
Yeah.
So how do they select the board? We don't know. Who votes? If you are a CSO, right? I don't know, Save the Children. Or what? How do you see diverse? You have 4 questions here. And but this is
so it's applicable to NGOs as well, right?
Right, besides the last one.
Besides the last sub question, I mean, like number.
Because you have no members.
Okay. Then we can like clarify that this question is just for membership based.
And
okay.
Who votes in the elections?
Yes,
Mohru. Let me.
Okay. You can finish.
Okay. Let me. Organization background. This is what they have. Because here, if they are a CSO and they don't have members, right? This is, then you need to change this. Who votes in the elections? We need to know. You take out all members. What role do members? They don't have members. But it's still important, even for a CSO, to explain what your organization board election process. So keep the first 2. Okay, because they wouldn't have members.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. And those were my comments, you know, from what I heard when I asked those questions. This is why, remember when you asked me if we would share. Now, if this document would be shared with Kurak, I wouldn't write this. I would never say they are undemocratic like this, because they would be upset to see it, even if this is the reality. So you need to know from the beginning, is it the document just for you and the project, or will they ever read it? Okay, let me admit Asa. This is extremely important. But we decided that they will not see the document. Hi, Asa. It's recorded, so you can listen to what we talked so far. Okay. Anything here? Any questions here?
Yes.
Please.
May I?
Please.
Camila, I'm so sorry. It's like repeated question. Okay, this organizational board selection processes. You just you realize that either she doesn't know this document, either nobody follows these statements and this regulation.
I give them the benefit of a doubt, but 99% I know what is the reality. They don't care.
Okay, they don't care. And at the end, in 1 year, how can we measure it? It's still, now we know, now she has written this document because we force this. And what marks we can put here in
But
the
we are
year?
not rating this. This is not rated. This is just information. If you go, you are rating just advocacy, not governance.
Okay, but we evaluate them, okay? It's not rating.
No, not even that. That is your information. You're not, you know, it's an internal evaluation at which we do as a team to understand who they are. But you are not rating them because in this project, you are not addressing this. This is a reality. You cannot do anything about it. You don't have the time. This is not the scope of the project.
But we have too many time to understand who they are.
I don't think that you have, I mean, what do you mean by you have too much time?
For example, to read this, to revise these bylaws and to
Right.
to compare whether is it right or is it democratic or no, make some analysis.
Just, you know, just read it, you know, don't spend a lot of time. Your time should be spent more on advocacy. And this is a brief diagnostic because this project is not about capacity building in general. It's such a broken project in a way. So fragmented pieces glued together. We can do the best of what we can, but we cannot fix it. Still, it would be important to tell them, look, and I will put it nicely, from my perspective, I think there is a discrepancy between what you have in the bylaw and how you conduct, you know, the activity and the relationship with membership. So maybe in the future, you and the board may want to take a look how you do things and decide. So, but this is theirs. It's not us. Nowhere in this project, you don't have this kind of things. Capacity building, structure, governance. You don't have it. And we have so many trainings on other topics that it would be simply too much. I would tell them that they are, you know, it's a discrepancy, but they should fix it. Any other questions here? Asel, to explain to you what is the reality. I mean, this is what Nur Sultan told us at the beginning of the session, is that When he received the bylaw is right. In the bylaw, they have a general assembly, a yearly annual general assembly members vote, which is, you know, a totally discrepancy between what the bylaw says and what they are doing. So the idea was, what do we do about it? And because unfortunately this project does not have a component to fix them or to work with them, my take on that would be just to inform them in a way that not to feel them bad, that we saw, or I saw from my perspective, there is a discrepancy. Maybe they didn't know, give them the benefit of a doubt. Maybe they didn't notice, maybe the, you know, but
Yes,
it would be good to address it, not to fix it. It's not me to tell them what to do. I'm not hired to do that. And because we start a cooperation with them, we don't want to antagonize them. But I put it in writing here because this is important for us to keep in mind. And just to give you, you know, to tell you how I did it, what is in red are my comments. But she, you know, remember she filled in this part. But my comments are not an evaluation and are not part of the evaluation, are just comments. So that we know, which is why we should never share this with them, because these are honest comments, right? Had I known we would share it, I would never say they are undemocratic.
Yes, I think even if we don't say, people will start to think about it. For example, Nurcan, the new executive director, maybe she hasn't ever even read bylaw.
Yeah.
And during interview, she find out, oh, actually, it should work in this way. Maybe we don't need to say, but they will start to think
We
about
don't know if she read it or not, but I
Yes.
think that this is, you know, and this is what it's always, when you see there is a discrepancy, you decide, it's your decision whether you want to have another meeting, short meeting, or call. Look, these are the things that I would maybe want to clarify, and these are the things that maybe always put it like this. Maybe I didn't understand, but I want to see that I've noticed this. You may want to take a second look or something like that. Wherever we can't do anything. If we would have a mentorship component or a technical assistance component, I would not let it go easily, because this is a major thing, not a small one. But we don't have. Okay.
Okay.
Good. So gender, we know they have no gender, right? No GBV. Again, everything what I said here is in red, but these are just for help, to help us. You saw this, I shared it with you, okay? Any questions? I haven't changed, right? Well, here, services, this is what they said. And this is what I felt like I needed to add something, because to me, this is simply too much and it's rhetorical. But as before, this is just my take. You write when you will do your diagnostic, what you will, when you believe you have something to add. You saw, I didn't write everywhere. I didn't comment on everything. Only on the things which I said, I thought that I might add something relevant in addition to what she said. To me, and why I wrote here, because this, you know, they are not doing it. And to do spiritual, personal, professional is just simply too much. And nothing they did was about spiritual, and hopefully they will not do it. Is what means spiritual religion? What is that? I had no idea.
I think it was about more support to women, just
That
about,
is not spiritual. That is personal, professional.
yes,
You
but
know,
maybe they say in this way, maybe spiritual, because
look, Asel, to contribute, and they have it in several places, spiritual, personal, and professional. What is that? Does it make you a better person? Does it make you a worshiper to God? I don't know.
okay,
I don't want to find out. Even that, you know, it's too touchy. But I thought that I should write it, you know.
okay.
Okay, so that you know, because this is just one example. Other organizations will have other things. GBV, they, you know. Now, I needed, you know, when they said we need government support to organize, to me, that is unbelievable, because you advocate to the government. You know, how can you know, if they give you your support, their support to advocate to them, that's not quite right.
Yes, but you know, we're also discussing and find out that maybe for the advocacy part, we need to talk to the chairperson, because Nurjan, she is not involving in the process of
Yes.
advocacy, and she is not aware how it's happening. So that's why she maybe provided not clean.
Yes,
answer.
I understand, and we said that in the future it will be helpful if we have both, but keep in mind that even if in your working plan you have fast diagnostics, not in depth. So don't spend too much time on this, because it will not help you. This document should help you understand their needs, who they are, and have a basis for scoring, right? Because in 1 year, you'll have to come back and show that because of what you did, they did better. But in 1 year, maybe we'll not do all this introductory. Maybe we'll just do the second part. Yes, Nur Sultan, right.
Yeah, just question about, like, for example, some colleagues, we have Abaroli, Search, and SIPE here, and some of our colleagues work with some organizations in deep, like they cooperated, they know about, they experienced that they, for example, they did good advocacy in the past. So this knowledge can be included in the reporting, like, for example, if we selected the respondent who is new in the organization, who doesn't know well, but we know that this organization had this experience. How about this situation?
I would, if the organization itself didn't know what they did, to me, come on, that to me, it's a mistake. It means that whatever was done more by Abaroli or by Search, not by them. Right now, this diagnostic is about who they are, not about the work Abaroli did with them. If they don't mention it, if they just expedite it, what does it tell you? Who did the work? Abaroli, thank you. At least they should notice it. They should know it was their campaign or not.
I think it was, I'm so sorry, may I jump in? I think
Please.
it was about taking into the consideration those information, because Kyrgyzstan is very small and we know a lot about the organization, like informally. And when we are like in taking interview, we find out that some information are actually not the same as she's saying, because we know before how it was working. So I think, should we take into the consideration
you can add, as I did here, and then write Asel AK, and then you write it. Yeah, that would be your interpretation or your added, you add, but keep in mind once again that sometime in most of these advocacy campaigns, if they don't talk about it, if they don't mention them, maybe they were so much project driven They were like a puppet. This is about what they did, not what other people did. And which is why also it's important to have the right people in the diagnostic, in the interview. Or if you know, ask, let's say you know something, or you know that they, but I heard that last year or 2 years ago you had an advocacy. Can you tell me about that? Ask them, you know, if you know, ask purely like this, if you see. Because we had these questions, have you developed, but I know you did that. Oh, I forgot. Could you know, ask directly. GBV, no. They are not GBV. And they said they have an advocacy committee, although when it was, they didn't mention it, which is why I have added it. Okay, so this is what they have filled in, right? And this is where I filled in. Okay. I took them from their materials. I didn't, yeah. And they said they have 70 members, experience in working. I think it's strong. This is this is now my perception. I think they have strong experience in working with this, and they have none in GBV. Okay. And then
Question is here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the question is related to, just a moment.
Yeah.
2 seconds. Assessing the organization's capacity in public policy advocacy. When we speak public policy advocacy, this is what's related to laws, right?
Laws, regulations, policies, yes.
Okay, not the advocacy in general, because advocacy can be in media and
No,
other
that is advocacy is not media. In the advocacy process, you have outreach where you engage media, but public policy advocacy process, this is about everything.
Could you clarify, please, Amelia? When do you...
Public policy advocacy process, how do you advocate? What do you do? What is, you know, all these questions that you have here are about the advocacy process. If it helps, we can say process here. Would that clarify it? Would that help?
Okay, just a moment. For example, the questions which goes further, like for example, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th tick.
Which one?
Have you developed advocacy tools such as policy papers, issues, brief, white papers? So in my understanding, it relates to the regulations, laws, and so on, right?
Not only it's not only to the regulation, but this is something that in a Women National Business Agenda or in a national business agenda you may develop. You have a policy paper or an issue brief talks about the situation, the barriers, and your recommendation, and you need to justify it based on and talk about impact and show why what you suggest is better than what it is. I mean, national business agenda is not just a set of recommendations. We recommend them because we think they are good. normally you also need to say why. And come associations that, I mean, just to give you an example, MChem Azerbaijan, they just prepared a white paper that include 140 recommendations to the government from their members. This is what they recommend, very clear recommendations. I mean, policy papers are 14, 15 pages on recommendation, you know, on a one issue. Issue briefs are briefs, I mean, two, 3 pages, very focused. I mean, these are tools. And
Yeah.
whoever advocate professionally, they know about this. Others just go to the government and say, we believe it should be like this. That's it. And then they leave. And they expect miracles. And if they haven't done it, then we know they don't know about it. And probably most of them haven't done it. Probably the professional ones, the sector-based, would have done some of them. To give you another example, in Azerbaijan, we gave to the Microfinance Association, they got the small funding and they did a white paper with that money. With it was $2,000, yeah, something like that.
I
So
think-
this were, yeah.
Go ahead, Camila.
Okay, so these were the questions that we asked. Hopefully, yes, Mohru. Yes.
I'm sorry for this question, but what is significant difference between white paper and VBA? Is it almost the same, like by the logic, by we are we are assessing barriers and say this, develop this map of recommendation?
Well, you may say that, you know, these tools are in a way similar. And you can say the business agenda, it's a white paper. Usually a white paper, it is a document prepared by an association, by a consultant from their perspective. It's what they believe it's good for their members. National business agenda, it's more than a white paper. It is the process of engaging and talking about the priorities of everybody. It is not only the document, but is the engagement and everybody saying, yes, this is what we believe it's okay. And we don't focus on 140. We don't include 140 recommendations. We include 5 priorities that we believe they are the core and the, you know, this is the difference. A white paper in itself, it's a product, right? You can show it, you can print it. A Women National Business Agenda is a product. You will print it as a document, but remember, and probably Bart said that, it's also the process. And to create the process, to create the steering committee, to create the engagement, to create the participation, to make them advocate, this is the process of the Women National Business Agenda or National Business Agenda, but you have to do it. Okay? While the white paper, it's a tool, it's a paper, it's a document. Okay? Any other questions here? And this is my scoring. Now, to make it clear for you and for me, because remember, it is very possible that whatever I did will be shared within the team, or maybe next year I will not be the evaluator. Maybe I will be out, maybe someone else. This is why I bolded, so that is clear. Instead of saying 3, which 3 I believe exist, right? And because this will help you in 1 year. I will re-emphasize, don't be too generous. Be fair, because if you are too generous and this is not true, then you'll have a hard time showing any increase. And God forbid that next year they will have 40 or 35 because this percent, right? So they go backwards, not forward.
But from other side, it's not too fair to criticize them too much, because
It's not criticizing, it's who they are. It's not criticizing, it's a diagnostic. Critique when I say you're doing bad, like a no, it's I'm not the mother-in-law. This is who they are. In my opinion, based on what she said and what she shared, they have 3 here. There is no clear statement and of the solution and no policy. This is true. It's not a critique. This is the reality. I'm not criticizing. You see, it's a diagnostic. It's like, you know, you all have blue eyes. That's not a critique because you don't have green eyes. This is, you know, who you are right now. 0. Yeah, they don't do GBV. It's not a critique. It doesn't mean that tomorrow they will have to do it. I hope they will not, by the way. Not to change. But this is the reality. Consultations. Based on this is what she said, you see? And I wrote it, why? To help the next evaluator, whether that will be me or someone else, so they should know a little bit. Now, honest to God, this is what I said. I have forgot to ask the questions. I don't know how they cooperate with similar organization and mainstream. I didn't get that information because I didn't ask them. So that is my fault. And this is how I started. As an evaluator, I would have to decide whether I go back and say, hey, I want to have a brief call. How do you, and get the answers to these questions or pass. If you think it's, sometimes you're not, you don't know, should I give them 1 point or 0? You can give them 0.5 if you feel, that would also be okay. And when you have 1, 2, I gave them 1 here and I bolded just that. And I gave them the point, even if she said she hasn't conducted, because in the end, she realized that they did. Remember? And I gave them, so which means that I'm fair. I'm not, this is who they are right now. And I try to be fair.
Melik, here's the question. It's this all questions regarding related to the correct translation, as I said before. So policy solutions. when we say policy solutions, it's very general notion which contains of like any.
Well, let me explain to you,
Yeah.
right? You have the law is saying the article is like this.
Yeah,
Policy
yeah.
solution is the new article.
Mhm.
Or it developed its policy. Look how it's here. No policy solution. We talk only about problems. And some association, they always talk about problems, then score 0. If policy solutions, this is the solution to change this law or to change as a list of demand. I go to the government and tell the government the VAT should be lowered. I don't know. This is what I believe. These are demands, right? Why? Because I think so and because my members want. If I go and I say, lower the VAT or have, and I come with a research, I come with a very clear policy solution, which I can substantiate and explain why, then I would add 1-2 points, you know. If I also come with research and I come with the support of other associations, and I said that it's not only me, 10 other associations, and we are, I don't know, who believe this is right, then again, you see? And I gave them that because remember when she said they conducted a research on women migration? And they developed recommendations to the government on how to stop it. So I gave them credit for that. But I wrote it because in 1 year you forget. But I also wrote most of Curac's recommendations are verbal.
You are generous, Camille.
I am, I try, yeah. Well, I think that unfortunately, they are one of the best, right? No?
They are not one of the best, but they are one of the first women's situations in our country. They
Yeah.
were strong in some period
Yeah.
of time ago, but unfortunately they had challenges with finding executive management for the last several years.
If you believe, now, honest, more you said I'm generous. If you believe I gave them too high marks here, we can discuss. I don't want to, you know. But here I tried to write, you see.
Camille, may I ask questions
Please.
to my colleagues, actually in Russian, because the question was the translation of the policy. Да, коллеги, мы перевели этот policy solutions как стратегические правовые рекомендации и поставили, ну, сделали комментарий, что мы уточним у Камили. Поэтому мы оставляем, да, стратегические правовые рекомендации. Policy recommendations.
Да, но вот,
solutions,
что
да.
мы самое главное сами понимаем, что все, что говорит об адвокасе, это все касается, вот как мы обсуждали, это изменений каких-то законодательств и регуляций, да, то есть.
I think we can clarify with Camelia. Camelia, sorry, we Nursultan translated document into Russian and we went through with our team together for each definition. And for the last policy solutions, we translated it into Russian like a strategic legal changes because policy.
Yeah, legal amendments.
Strategic challenges, legal amendments. Okay. So
policy,
yes,
yeah, because policy can be a bill, a legislation, a regulation, not only legislative amendment. Mm-hmm. If you have, let's say you have a regulation of a city hall or a regulation of a bank, this is not a law, but it is a regulation.
Is a policy.
And usually, yeah. To give you an example, many women would complain that when they try to get loans, whatever collateral they come to put, they are, the bank is very harsh when on them, much harsher than they would be on male. And and they believe this is one of the things that it's impeding them to get loans. Now, that would never be in a bylaw or a regulation of a bank. But what if we would ask the banks to include something in their regulation to make it a fair due diligence or something, you know, in this regard? So policies are regulation, not only laws, parliamentarian laws. Any other questions about that? Yeah.
No, thank you.
Okay, membership in coalition, if remember they said that initially they said they didn't do it, but then they realized they did. So I tried to also to write it so that once again, in 1 year, they will have it, okay?
Mhm.
And to me, let's go back. So do you think, you said I was generous. They had 17 out of 40. Now, everybody, how was I? Too generous, too harsh, fair? What was I? Because you will do it also.
No, I think it's realistic, and also it will depend on the situation. But you know, you evaluate it based on the information they provide to you. And for us, we have some privilege that we are on the
You know
local
more.
level. So yeah, some more information. So maybe it will also help us to evaluate.
Which is why it's important to have the same evaluator. So don't share, don't have Nursultan do 3, you do 3, because you know, then you will evaluate with a different scale.
Okay, but maybe 2 people will evaluate.
Yeah. Have
not
2
to be
people, but
biased.
the same 2 people. This is my point.
Okay. And for Malika and Mohru, I think your life will be much easier because we will pass this experience with the translations, everything. And I think we will also have some maybe call with Camelia just to discuss some challenges that we have. And then, of course, you will have the final, maybe not final, but experience document. So yes. Mohru, I think it will be easier. Please wait our results.
Yeah, we're lucky.
Yeah, I see.
So
In general,
anything
yes.
else?
In
Oh,
general, I don't have question. If we, Nursultan, if we clarified all the translations and words, no, I don't have any questions.
Yeah, I think we ran through all the.
Great.
Yeah, we went through all the questions we had. Thank you very much, Camelia, for clarifying.
And
okay,
Camille-
so yeah, for tomorrow, Asel, your question about your work plan. I responded. Tomorrow
Yes,
at 10 o'clock my time?
yes, I just checked, and tomorrow I have so many meetings. Unfortunately, is it possible to do on Wednesday or not? If not, I will try to find.
Because on Wednesday, I already offered, but I don't know if, Wednesday morning was not something that I wanted to happen.
Mhm.
Okay, Wednesday, what time?
Wednesday, anytime it works for you, because
Let
not
me,
so many meetings.
because,
We can do it 10 a.m. Bucharest time, or 9 a.m. or 11
yeah,
a.m.
let me, I can, because it was a Moldovan association. Let me see if they responded.
Rika,
I offered,
you
because
invited
on,
her?
sorry?
Oh, I was talking to Monica.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
Другой цвет покрасила.
Malika, you are so incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, she's
Очень
great.
красиво.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Just different color.
I even
Oh.
didn't recognize you first.
Это ваш цвет, очень красиво.
Спасибо.
Прям раскрылись.
You are
очень.
like blonde, like some European.
Yeah, she's, let's do this because Moldova didn't reply. So let's put Asel on Wednesday.
Great. Thank you so much, Camelia.
I will send an invite and it will be you, Nargisa, and Nursultan.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Thank you so much.
welcome. And Mogru tomorrow, 11 o'clock my time.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I will
Okay,
join
good.
tomorrow.
Sorry?
Yes, I will join tomorrow too.
Okay, good.
Okay, great.
Bye. Ciao.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much,
And,
Camilla.
yes.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye.